Good morning, everybody. It was pretty quiet. Things are picking up a little bit to the upside. I guess no bombs falling and nothing really going on so far. And we'll lift up there. I guess past the halfway part of Friday's down bar. So a little review. Prices came into resistance. They looked like they were going to could fill the gap. And there was some rejection earlier, and prices went down on the spike up in interest rates in the middle of the day at the bond auction that didn't go off well. And then things started higher Monday, and prices went down on consumer sentiment coming in lower than expectation. And things just kept selling off. So today's move up, I think, say, is just a relief of the sell-off on Friday and nothing happening to move the markets yet. I just heard on CNBC, I think it was CNBC or Fox News, they said there's going to be 21 Fed speakers speaking this week. That's incredible. They must have a lot to talk about. I don't know. We'll see. Any event, technically, topping tail on the weekly chart versus a bottoming tail bar. No, this was as you would know, as it was a complete green bar at the high, suggesting higher prices. Prices are at some support, this minor support level down here. And buyers stepped up there, the 200 MA, and we're kind of stuck in between these reference points right now. The good thing is, right, there's good and bad here, right, is that, hey, it took out this prior high. The depth of retracement was a plus, right, where it did get higher, but it couldn't hold there. And we're in kind of no man's land as to what's going to happen here, meaning disregarding the news, right? Technically, right, you disregard the news as to what was happening. And we knew based on the week before last Friday that prices should go up based on this reversal in wide range bar. And it should go up into this gap fill area and maybe tag the 50 MA. And then the news came out and turned it lower prior to completing that move. But the depth of the retracement now suggests, what do we need to see? Well, either a turnaround here that could push prices higher. Right? So this strength of this move up, applying historical bar by bar analysis, would result in a reversal day, right? Reversing these moves within the next day or two, when prices would advance. Or let's just move within this downward trend coming into the latter part of October, seasonality and all of that. Maybe things push lower to where that would be ideal, maybe below this area down here. Let's drag this down here, maybe somewhere down into this area where this congestion is, that could set up where we would see, drawing out here, what we would see is a slowing of momentum to the downside here, which would set up the end of year rally. So at this point, we just need more information because, we've got this, as I said, deep move up. It's at resistance. It might take a day or two to try and flip this higher, or whatever next shoe is going to drop to push things down. And the weekly chart would look better with that slowing momentum reversal in a stiffer area of support. So just a kind of a wait and see here on the intermediate term of what's happening. Sentiment is still, it got to an extreme bullish level down here, many more puts being bought than calls, and breadth got to an extreme. Now it's just kind of more neutral, breadth, in the middle here, just above, well, just a little below zero. This could come down further, of course. So we don't have any advantage here as far as the internals go for now. And interestingly, this morning was the fact that, interest rates, look at how they're moving up. And each time they've moved up, of course, the markets don't like that. And this chart that I showed, was it here? Over the weekend. That wasn't it. And neither was that it. I guess I erased it. Anyway, just comparing the movement in bonds versus interest rates, as you can kind of see here on this chart, the inverse relationship. And so we had this down move last week, after it flipped up hard and it came down. It's really wild kind of price action, but interest rates moving up, and the markets are brushing that off, where it's pretty much been lockstep, whereas interest rates move up. And what's happening, what I see, is that for whatever reason, the dollar, is moving down sharply, kind of neutralizing that. So I guess institutions are just looking at that like, hey, for the moment, that's neutral. So let's see if we get some kind of little relief rally from the end of last week's sell-off. We covered in the past the fact that the euro is down here near a significant support level. It's trying to stabilize. So we look in different markets for guidance. So the fact that this is at support, the dollar is at some resistance. It's backing off from there. It could have went higher, and it still might. So as we look at all of these relationships and what's going on, it really doesn't give us any definitive bias as to today. We really see how today is going to shake out, and we'll go from there. S&P is just up a little bit. Nothing really happening there. NASDAQ is the bottom of the wide range bar, in between these moving averages, which are declining. The Dow is retracing a decent amount compared into the topping tail that occurred. And let's look at the Russell on the ETF. It's near the bottom of the trading range. It could go a little bit further, but every time it's come down here since the end of last year, it's a decent distance to get all the way down to that October low, but it's near this low here. So you would think buyers are going to show up there, give or take, in that area. And yeah, Bitcoin is looking interesting. It's just been such a mess, but it's up a lot. And maybe that's seen as being a safer place. I don't know. I don't know. But, you can see the mess. It's just in a big, wide trading range all year. Well, the majority of the year has just been in a wide trading range. And today's move up is relatively meaningless based on the higher time frame. And we could make an argument of this being a head and shoulders top. We just don't know yet. Hamas preferred currency is Bitcoin. Well, I don't want to say it. Anyway. Okay. Yeah. Oh, so interestingly, what we see happening here? We can go back to this. I mentioned in the weekend video this 13-week forming like a head and shoulders top. And there's no expectation that the Fed is going to lower interest rates. But on a line chart, you can see this little pattern that's forming here. And the markets always lead whatever's going to happen, right? In this case, the Fed. Now, this spiked up. It's come down here. It's just flattening out. Why we keep an eye on this? Because way back here, scrolling back, way back here, when we told subscribers, look, everything looks hunky-dory in the world, but you see this flat chart? When it starts going up, it's going to be a problem. And we all know, in 2020 hindsight, it's been a big problem. And the 10-year going up, and we got the inversion and all of that, right? So now this looks like it's locked up. I made it crazy. I can't move it. Hold on. Just got too many things going here. Anyway, if you can still hear me, the 10-year, you're going to want to mark this lower level around 4.55 if the 10-year starts moving down. And yeah, and you're going to have to take over this thing's life. And I'm not going to be able to get Zoom going again. It's not going to let me switch until I kill Zoom.
Yeah, kill Zoom. Good morning. Hey, so Greg just talked about range bound here. And, we have a number of shorts and longs. And amazingly, I don't have, let's see, Dollar General is my only alarm because it wasn't very far away. We're going to sell some naked puts on this. Nice gap breakout, bottoming, climb all weekly, monthly. But other than this, I don't have any alarms going off on open trades or I did move it. So Greg, if it's not, the switch isn't working.
Hold on.
But yeah, so Greg and I were saying over the weekend, what's our bias? And we're like, up or down. We'll just trade the charts. And so obviously we're getting a little bullish bias here pre-market, which in light of the escalating war is bullish. I know I'm talking without charts, but all right, let me try again. Just so we have something to talk about. All right, I tried again, Greg, and nothing. Oh wait, okay, it is working now. All right, here we go. All right, cool. So here's our Dollar General, but we'll go through as many as I can here of our watch list. And they're, the longs were a little bit harder to trigger, so that doesn't surprise me. And then the shorts have to trigger, which they might not with the gap up, unless they're weak. Okay. Yeah. There's a number of climbos and a number of potential double bottoms. I just posted this RH. Now see, this is it's a minor W bottom climo weekly. And so we're always looking for a turn, or else it's in a downtrend, lower lows, lower highs. So that's why the entry on this one has to be over Thursday's high, not Friday's high. Friday's high is just a tiny bounce in the Thursday's ugly red bar. So I have an alarm and see what happens. I'm not going to rush into it. Yeah, I also saw these Bitcoin stocks going up, and all of them are potential bottoming patterns. So coin here gapping up to resistance, but 4 bars down on support. Riot, same. Potential, Mara, same. So these are all in play, possibly. I'll put Mara in my other, like I always got coin, but I had Mara. Nvidia, and even though semis are up, Nvidia down here. I guess they're getting more pressure about doing business with China. So anyway, I was saying, yeah, the fact that the markets are up with this Israeli mess going on. CLSK, I set an alarm at 386, I think. Sloppy, no rush, but if it can get above Thursday's high. TXT, I saw the CEO on CNBC talking about his new citation. But this needs to get above Thursday's high, or at a minimum for a day trade here. So I set an alarm at 79 because it's a big bullish trading range. Weekly, the weekly is a bull rectangle. So that's very impressive relative strength to the broader markets. AMAM, never heard of this, but I saw a big gap up. Banking earnings started on Friday, JP Morgan, WFC. But look at regional banks here. It's a sell setup. So that, that's been a drag on IWM. Omer's getting its head taken off here. Look at that. 50% gap down on Omer. Wow, I don't know what's going on there. RAD filed bankruptcy, Chapter 11. We kind of knew it was coming. And some people might say, well, then why is it trading at 61 cents? And the answer is because the collective stock market views value at 61 cents when it comes out of Chapter 11. Remember, Chapter 11 means I get in over my head and I need to restructure my debts per the federal bankruptcy code. Chapter 7 means adios, I'm out of business and I'm in liquidation mode. Apple was down more earlier. I guess there was reports saying their iPhone sales are not as good. All right, now this is interesting. Pfizer came out and pre-released and saying they're gonna, lose nine. I don't know if it's not lose, but 9 billion less of revenue than expected from many reasons, Corona, et cetera. But then it also got an upgrade. But the fact that it 100% negated that gap and now is rallying on that news. Are you kidding me? That's bullish. Stocks that don't go down on bearish news are bullish. So let's keep an eye on that to sell a 31 put spread for Friday. That's right here at these pre-market lows. And then I think Myrna is down in sympathy. That gap in the support, but that looks horrible. Daily, weekly, monthly. Look at that monthly chart. Tip of Corona. This was all the crazy stay-at-home stocks in the middle of Corona. And I remember saying that. Like, I don't know how many drugs this company has, but rest assured, the Corona vaccine was a big part of it. And I was saying, what happens when Corona goes away? Well, here's Exhibit A, 500 down to 95. Hub is being added to the, I think, mid cap. This looks like a possible day trade. 30-minute high. You could get $5 out of that. Lulu being added to the S&P 500 upon the news of Microsoft buying ATV Pine. You know, that would be such an amazing inside information. Like when you're added to a major index, the Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500, there's so many funds that are forced to allocate money into your funds because that's what an ETF is. And so that's immediate buying pressure. They have to buy it. Look at this crazy gap. But what blows my mind is fundamentally, other than added to the index, you're going to get more buying pressure. Fundamentally, has one iota changed of their stretch pants that McGraw wears to the gym? You know, I'm a kind of a contrarian by nature at extremes. So I'll be looking at this to sell a call spread under a 30-minute low. Yeah, hey Jonathan, welcome. Yeah, when we please ask that identical question around 10:30 when we have more time to talk. We're always busy here on pre-market review, and Monday mornings are the busiest for me with all the new trades, opens, etc. All right, Schwab had earnings, but it was on my list if it can get above this. And look how wild it is pre-market. But 30-minute high, if it can get above Friday's high, be a put spread. Gas is on Sam's list. If it can take out Friday's high, be a red bar ignored breakout. Billy sell setup. So see, we have a lot of sell setups in the weekend letter that look like this. But if the markets are going to go up, then only the weak ones are going to trigger. Agro, bear 1, 2, 3 breakdown. I have an alarm down here somewhere, 1063. Golf Tango, sell setup, Friday's low, Nova. I actually, Alex, I got them off your list. Nova and O Oscar, they're very similar looking. And we call, well, this one's a tad different, but they're like failed, anticipated failed sell setup because you had a bullish 2-bar move, 2 inside bars. If it takes out the high, it has a void, Limo weekly. JKS already broke out and is retracing. I like the weekly, little bear sandwich. Hog, bear 1, 2, 3. Triple N, another, it was a gap breakout on Wednesday. Friday made Thursday's red bar ignored, has a price void. Limo weekly, so that's a long watch. Let's set an alarm on my other computer too. Triple N, I'll set it 3578. Sergey. Yeah, oil's relatively calm here pre-market. That's sloppy to me, Sergey. It's just slop. It's just not a high quality pattern. Par breaking down daily, weekly. RJF, bear 1, 2, 3. SIBO is strong as can be, strong uptrend. Well, that coin kept ripping. I'm going to put Mara is ripping here now too. Even more the biggest 15-minute bar pre-market. I'll put SIBO here in the window. Sam gave me this last week, and I said, wow, look at that monthly on Suave. So it's up 5 days though. We got to watch pullback. Cream. I had Schwab bottom right here, selling off pre-market. All right, cream. If this takes out Thursday's high, then it can be a directional and a put spread. Yeah, I think I looked. I obviously read Barron's. Well, I read the articles I want. All right, Dollar Tree up alarm here. Little bottoming pattern, Climo. Bitcoin ripping now. Wow, look at Bitcoin ripping here. So that's dragging the related stocks. All right, I'll put Dollar Tree in a window of the computer. LCII sell setup in a 1, 2, 3. Royal Caribbean closing breakdown. And now I like that it's gapping up, because then it's not going to trigger unless it's weak. CLSK up alarm, but I prefer 30-minute high. That's still a mess. Old Toro here could be a red bar ignored breakout. Carvana bear 1, 2, 3 for a call spread. WTW would have been a no-brainer put spread, but I forget, it was either too illiquid or no juice. Not a great directional, but beautiful put spread with Friday's breakout. And IT has to get over Thursday's high, but I'm not sure about the target. Gato. I have this as an idea to sell $5 puts. PXD gap on Friday had a nice gap over the red bar, closing breakout. Ideally, I'll get some 1, 2, 3. Alex, let's look at these real quick. Yeah, I looked at these. McKesson was up too much. Not a good target here. Yeah, I looked at all these. Yeah. TXT up alarm. All right, now I got some alarms going on. TXT hit my 79. WTW alarm, but not doing anything. Berber, Alex, this is yours. Bear sandwich. BWXT alarm. So that's a go. SIBO alarm. SIBO looks fantastic. And I like that it negated that little gap down.
NVIDIA gap down. Maybe that's usually got juice for a call spread, Dan.
Yeah,
it's on the 50, but
yeah, I mentioned that pre-market as a call spread. Yeah. Yeah, let me get through these alarms. Triple N. Triple N. Did I do this one official or just alarm? I forget. Okay, this one was just an alarm. But I like it. Let's do 5-minute high. Triple N stop on Thursday's low. Another REIT. Put it Put it here in place of Schwab.